Welcome to another Conversations with Geoff. I want to tell you thank you all so very much for being a supporter of our mission. For all those of you that are new and hearing us for the first time, welcome to the community. You know, our only ask is that you come in here and you participate, you let us know where you're from, you drop some love in the chat for our guest speaker, you know that you set the notification bell up, you subscribe, and then you come back and you check out some of the previous episodes. We've been blessed to have folks on our show that cover all gamuts of life, you know, from family to business to health and to sports and religion. So, you know, we really want to make sure that we deliver something that you can take in your life today. That's right. Take it in your life today and begin to make a difference in your life, right? All right. No more thinking. That whole thing about the conversation you're having with yourself, about yourself, is such a powerful, yet misused gift that we have, right? What I mean by misuse is what's real. I always ask this question and haven't asked it in a while, so I shouldn't say always. So what voice are you listening to this morning when you got up? What voice was running the show? Were you already on autopilot? Or you're already thinking about brushing your teeth, taking a shower, hopefully, putting on a little deodorant, right? And and going through the motions of life? Or are you that other person that's seeking to listen to the message? There's two voices that we hear each and every day throughout the entire day, right? What voice are you listening to? The other voice is saying, hey, it's going to be a beautiful day. Grateful to be here this morning. Give thanks to whatever it is that you believe in, right? I mean, whatever. We don't judge on this show. Whatever your purpose and faith is, you're welcome here. And I want to say to you, what voice are you listening to? And if, look, real life story, some days I really got to work at quieting that other voice, because the night before I went to sleep with that voice raging in my head about all the things that I didn't do right that day, or all the things that I got to do tomorrow, or all the things I'm worrying about, you know, those things back in the past that I can't do anything about. And I know I'm not the only one that deals with that stuff, right? So I want to let you know you are in the right place right now to hear with us, right? So I wrote something down. I wanted to just share this with you, and we'll get to why we're here today. But, you know, the power of persuasion. We feel that persuasion and passion, when that comes together, it helps you release yourself from the past. You have a reason, a compelling reason now to do something different, releasing yourself from that past messaging, only for a moment, to step into your passion. And then follow your purpose. So I challenge you today, I really encourage you to make sure that, first of all, you cut yourself some slack if you have that stinking thinking going on, because we all do it. Secondly, become aware of the fact that you can make a difference and you can change your thinking one piece at a time, right? Don't worry about all the things you have to do, just one thing. What are you going to say to yourself differently today, right? I mean, I always use this word. I'm going to use it again. You know, I'm going to try to do something. Are you going to try, or are you going to do it? You tell yourself, today is the day that we do it. Do it now and get it done. Are we going to say I can't, or maybe, or we're going to say I will and I can? I mean, those are just three things that you can do. I guarantee you, if you listen to what I'm saying throughout the day, you're going to have an opportunity to use one of those. I guarantee you. So I challenge you to do that, and remember this, right? The gift we have to change our thinking makes us unique. Anybody can do it. Animals can't do it. Trees can't do it. Those are things that they are just the way they are, but we can change. It's possible. What I'm saying to you today is possible. All right? So let me just get to why we're here. I was backstage. I hadn't talked to this young lady. Almost seemed like forever. Met her almost a year ago, coming up on a year ago, in Miami, and she was part of the Great American Speak Off down there, killing it, and had been, we just chatted about catching up, and I'm just going to tell you, let me just give you a quick review of our guest. Man, her business empowers baby boomers and Generation X to prepare for retirement and I like this word, I wrote it down, in a humanistic manner, right? Mary Huang is the founder of Wealthy Women Incorporated, with a mission to prepare Americans to retire with confidence and peace of mind. Because she has learned the painful way. I smile because I get it, man. I mean, what great lessons we get through the pain, right? She has learned finance the painful way when she became a single mom. And then she decided to help others secure their financial future, and brings her great joy and fulfillment in doing that. She's passionate about passing on a better world to future generations. She's written award-winning books, seen and heard on ABC, award-winning podcasts, magazines, documentaries, and shared stages with a couple of my heroes, Deepak Chopra, and my mentor and coach, Les Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to the stage my friend and our next guest, Mary Huang, coming from, where you coming from, Mary? Let's see, where you at?
Los Angeles, California. What is up?
All right. LA in the house.
Oh man, I am so grateful and happy that we get to be together today, just spreading the positivity, being just sharing whatever we've gone through to be able to empower others to get through what they're going through, because we're all going through something at some point.
No doubt about it. That's one guarantee, Mary. We are all going through something. And, we were chatting about that before we popped on by myself. And you were saying something that I think was really powerful. It kind of fits into what we're talking about. We'll get a chance to do some other things. But you shared, about obedience and the power in that. I wrote down being as obedient as possible, and how that can shorten the gap. So why don't you talk about that for a minute as we kind of get settled in? I know I may have messed up that piece of it, but let's talk about that for a minute. What does that mean when you talk about that?
Yeah, it came from a conversation that I was mentoring some of my people that I work with, and whatever challenges they were going through, what I shared was the shorter the gap we can have between hearing that little whisper, which actually, by the way, the more we develop and allow ourselves to hear it, the louder we can crank it up. But that whisper, that is the truth that comes from our creator. Or we can call it intuition, but the shorter the gap between hearing the whisper and acting on it is how fast you can go towards fulfilling your destiny. And that's why we're all on the planet, is to discover why we're here and do it. And so from the outside, people can look at someone like that and say, wow, how did they take off like a rocket? And really, it's because you're aligned with why you were created, allowed to come to earth. And if you could just listen and act and shorten that gap, it's not easy. I think it takes practice. It takes time.
Oh,
it takes faith, and then you get there.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that, you talk about, it takes time, it takes practice, and it's possible. And your journey is kind of, been most recently, right? It has kind of been your living proof of what we're talking about now, and so why don't we just kind of step back a few years and I didn't talk a lot about your business, and we'll touch on that, but you single mom, financial woes, right? And here today you're killing it. But what was it that you're like, man, what pain brought you to your knees and then resurrected you, so now you're that superstar?
Thank you. I don't see myself that way, but I appreciate it. It's that I think all of us have to get to the point where we're just so sick of it. We have to be so sick of it, like pain after pain after pain. And for me, that's where I was. And I found myself leaving behind a situation quickly and shutting down my brick and mortar, my business, and then being a new single mom with 2 young daughters. And that was really tough. And having to go to food banks and, leaning on services that were there. But a lot of people don't think about that is an option. I was grateful that it was there for me when I needed it. But it also hurt so bad because I was raised in a wealthy environment. I went to an expensive New York university, and still I found myself in a situation where I was like, something isn't matching. What is off? My parents were immigrants from Taiwan, worked really hard to rise up and have all the physical material proof that they made it. And so I was the generation that chose to stop and reassess everything. Where did they come from? What were the choices they made? I'm grateful they gave me such a life in America with a great education, but how did I find myself with 2 young daughters with nothing? And I was like, no. So I had to work. I prayed. And honestly, number one, when people say, how did you do it? I said, it's God. For me, that is the truth. And I will testify that forever. And I had to relearn what my true source is, where my sustenance and my provision comes from. And so I got really deeply into the word. So that's number one, is getting right spiritually with the word, because the word will teach you that God wants us to be wealthy. He will provide for everything. However, he created us to fulfill a destiny. Nobody came here just to suffer for the sake of suffering. There is a way out. There is a way out. And so that's number one. And then number two, just getting educated in the areas that I was ignorant. I was educated, intellectual. However, I was financially illiterate. How can someone come from wealth, living down the street from the Forbes estate and the Mars Chocolate family estate, and be financially ignorant? Well, that was me.
Yeah. Wow.
The results showed itself.
Yeah.
So, it's humbling. And I'm so grateful. It said in the Bible, it says like the meek. Now I want to be the meek. I want to be that humble one. And I was like, you know what? Let me just get as knowledgeable as possible, get myself set up correctly so that I can break that generational pattern and hand it down to my children. I broke us free from a lot of things, and now we're breaking free from that financial ignorance.
Right.
Because now that I'm setting us up correctly with the financial foundations and the buckets and all the things that we could talk about if you want to later, I'm not just going to repeat the same pattern. Give them money without the knowledge, because what's going to happen is like the person who is in poverty and wins the lotto ticket within a year goes into bankruptcy.
Broke, yeah.
So it's not about the money. The money amplifies what the person is and what they already know or don't know. So we need to get educated and then pass it down to the future generations of financial intelligence. So we know there's emotional intelligence, there's IQ, and now we need to have financial intelligence, because otherwise we're hurting our children. Well,
you were saying so many things around coming from wealth. You would assume that the last thing that would happen would be financial chaos in your own life, right? I mean, and to be able to share that with people, man, is very freeing for those folks that don't have the wealth and are in the same situation. Ignorance doesn't discriminate, and that's kind of what we're talking about, right? It's about just not knowing, and then, like you said, getting educated to do that, and so now you're doing these things and you're setting the right things up for your kids and your family. What is it that Mary, that how were you able to just show up and realize that, hey, I got all these things, but now I need to let people know that here's my areas of chaos and and shortcomings that I've went through to get you to where you can help them. Just, man, such a gift to hear you share this information.
Thank you. I was always taught, and I agree, that we teach from a place of healed. So when I'm going through the depths of it, in the valley of death, truly that's what it was. Leaving behind a family unit to start over and feeling like I'm crawling through the valley of death and wondering, maybe you should just take me home because I clearly know nothing. But the Lord has plans. The Lord will give you beauty for ashes, because once you can persist and lean on him and keep your eyes set on him, even though you're so scared, you can't see anything, you have no idea what's up or down, but you know that it's like he will do that so he can rip everything away to let you know the truth of the truth. Because I was idolizing my marriage, my husband, what that whole picture perfect, what success looks like. And once all of that got ripped away like a rug under my feet, I'm on my knees, I'm on my face, and I'm like, I can't get up, but I have to, because I got two little girls looking at me. Two little girls. He gave me girls because I had to break the chain of what an Asian female was raised to be, a commodity, an intelligent, well put together, eloquent, powerful, strong female, but not allowed to be seen and heard, to lift up a hand. That's what I was raised to do. So I didn't blame my ex. That was my mindset and blueprint I had to break.
Wow. I appreciate you sharing that. You know, that and the cultural things they are what they are, right? I mean, and for you to be able to come in here and say, I mean, that's like generations of teaching and observation, and there's no way you're supposed to be able to be where you are today. And then you stepped into it and you recognize a power greater than you that got you there, right? And that's so amazing. And people are dropping in now. Nadia, thanks for showing up, and you got some thumbs up in there. So Mary, you know, you had to have created some really, you know, walls between your own family members and those of you that are looking at you like, are you crazy? You know, how? Because people are held up by the family members sometimes that they're afraid to do or behave in a way that makes them feel like they don't appreciate you or you don't appreciate them. What was that like? 'Cause I know that was a big piece of what your journey was.
Yeah, I think that, well, for me, it's fascinating how I can word this. When I was 13, that mansion down the street from the Forbes estate, my parents went off chasing. It was a spirit of, you know, it was I don't know, spirit of chasing the world's meaning of success. And they left my brother and I in the mansion with the checkbook, and they never came back. And it's like, oh, woe is me. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that was rough. They never came back to live with us ever again. And we had no guardians. We had to figure it out. And the type of things we got into, just to like, it wasn't just one valley of death. It was like again and again. I'm like, oh my gosh, again? Oh, I know this place well. I've been here like 3 times. I'm comfortable here. Until I was like, wait a minute, there's a mattress and a blanket down here. Like, I need to move out. Like, I don't want to be here again. And and that's what I mean. Like, we have to be so sick of our subconscious patterns, and they're called subconscious for a reason. They're under your conscious awareness. So how do you know what's down there? Well, surround yourself with people that love you for the right reason, that can, and trained enough to maybe talk about what's in your blind spot that they can see. That's one. Two, you know, the Holy Spirit is a perfect teacher to call you out on that in a loving way. And number three, if you look at the results in your life, you can reverse engineer and backtrack and see like, oh, this is a result I'm getting. Well, what actions am I taking? Right? We all know this formula. I'm backtracking. And then what are the emotions I'm having that cause me to make that action? Right? So what's an example? I'm so stressed out. Instead of working out, which is my let's eat like some chocolate.
Some cookies, baby. I'm guilty.
Right. And then behind that is the blueprint, right? The blueprint that gives those, you know, the true whisper from the Lord that says, I love you no matter what. go forward and towards a thing that is going to lead you towards destiny fulfillment, even though it scares you, I've got you, or the other voice that's not the truth, that lies and says, who do you think you are?
Right.
You know, and back to your question, no one in our family's ever done that. Why do you think you can? Or whatever, fill in the blank.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You know, and it's funny you're talking about life knocking you down. Before the show, I always like to put a quote in here, and there's one from Les Brown who you share the stage with. And when life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Let your reasons get you back up. You know, and you're sharing, you know, the pain of enough is enough, right? I mean, when that bottom hits, you know, everybody's got their own bottom, right? And when you get down there and you're like, whoo, I got to get out of here.
Yep. That's exactly it.
So you've done that, and thank you for sharing a little bit about you and your brother kind of sound like maybe raising yourself a little bit. Had plenty of money, right? Beautiful place, but you weren't. It's amazing we are where you are today. You know, fighting through that.
I think that also speaks to the fact that we can't judge a book by its cover. You know, especially in the world of social media, and everyone's an expert now just by positioning. Like, we have to. So then how do we discern? Yeah. Well, for me, I discern through the voice of the one who can see all. So, and how does that translate? Like, does my heart feel like it's the truth? Am I regularly pausing enough to look back and assess through all my life lessons? Because if we go through the challenges and get those aha moments, but then don't even like exercise them into the future or the present moment, then was it really like that impactful to you? And a great way is doing this, sharing it with other people, whether it's at a cafe, on a podcast, sharing your keys of revelation from overcoming, turning your ashes into beauty. Or no, not you, but sharing how you were allowed to have those ashes turned into beauty. And sharing that with others to encourage them is the best way to keep it going, because we're not doing any of this by ourselves. That was the biggest aha moment for me. Like, I can't do this by myself.
Wow, you know, it's funny you say that. When I heard you say that, it brings me back to a point in my life where the poem "Footprints in the Sand," right? And there's a piece in there where it was only one set of tracks, and you know, the message was, "Well, I thought you were always with me," and he says, "I was, my son. I was carrying you at that time." You know, and so and that's kind of like, wow. We always have someone, and however you might believe, that's great for whatever it is, but we don't judge. But man, just being able to know that there's a power greater than yourself and surrender to that is amazing.
You know, I want to say one thing about that is, you know, when people ask me, how did you do it? How did you come out from that dark place and get out, right? For me, it just aha moment came right now when you were sharing that poem, is that I prayed every day, all day long. And even if someone doesn't believe in the Lord at this time, having that positive, like, my eyes were set up high. And so I just never took my eyes off of my Creator. And that was renewing my mindset. So I'm not religious. I just love Christ because I know what he's done for me. But if the person that's listening isn't, just like, swap out my words and put in something else. If you keep your mind and keep renewing it by keeping your eyes set on a high mind, a high state of mind, it's going to influence the actions you decide to take. And so because I was feeding myself constantly with these positive words of who I really am, you know, someone here on earth to create something great, that's what the words in the Bible will tell you, I started to heal. And then the decisions and the choices, little baby step by baby step, would open doors, shut the ones behind me that no longer serve, and it will fling open the other doors in front of you of the right people, places, opportunities, conversations, and situations, so that you can start to walk through them.
Yeah, wow. I love renew your mind influences your actions and so many other things that you just talked about there, and closing the doors and stepping in for anybody, right? You know, whatever that, anything greater than yourself. For me, because I thought I would run everything for a long time, Mary. You know, my hands in the air. I was like, all right, I got this. You know, I don't need any help. You know, and so, but I found out differently in life, and you have shared so many things around that already. And then, I mean, we're at the point now where I'm gotta kind of give you a chance to let people know how to get a hold of you. I mean, our time is just zipping by. So how do people get a hold of you? And it's in the chat, by the way, for those of you that see that. Information's in the chat. But tell us what are you up to and how do people get a hold of you?
Fabulous, fabulous. Well, you know, because of the pain that I went through and the transformation spiritually and materially, now I devote my life to helping other people, even though it says wealthy, I should say Wealthy Woman Inc. I am really focused right now on helping the baby boomer generation, because it starts with the mindset, okay? I'm educating people that, this is maybe another interview, but how our system has trained us to depend on certain types of retirement vehicles that isn't necessarily serving us. And if we can look back historically, I can tell you why there's that mindset, because generationally we've been taught a certain pathway. You know, what used to be pensions, and then pensions went away, and then it was 401ks, and they used to match it. Now they rarely match it. And now everyone is still trained to go that way, but there's other ways, many other ways. And that's where I educate people on, just so they can see, like, what are some other options, what's good for them and their situation. Everyone has a different situation. And so I do webinars, like, just, you can reach out to me. You can follow me on IG at _Mary_Huang. You'll see my name is right there. And then you can also email me if you just want to have like a face-to-face chat with me over Zoom. I'll sit with you and talk to you and just hold your hand. It's really about loving people through something that mentally feels scary. But once you get through it, it's so empowering. And so you can email me at mary@marylhuang.com, and I'll help you through it.
Wow. So I encourage everybody that's listening to this or in the replay, most of you will get the replay and do this. Check her out, reach out to her. What you see is what you get, right? The opportunity to have someone hold your hand and work with you if you need spiritual, she's obviously someone that can do that with you, and not in a religious way, but in a spiritual way, and caring and serving is so powerful. And she's talked about, you know, the gift of stop living in an insanity, basically, expecting things to be different, doing the same things over and over again. So Mary, what is it that you want the audience to know about you as we kind of get to the end of this thing? What parting words can you leave for us that, you know, you've already done so much. I mean, I got a couple pages of notes and I'm supposed to be paying attention, right? So for people, when you go back and get all this information, take some notes on all the things she shared, but what is it that, you know, is screaming at you now you want to leave the audience with that they can use right away?
Oh, yes. Thank you for that chance. I know that the world is getting increasingly more, giving more and more evidence of why people should be afraid and isolate and hide and lock the door and shut the curtains. I know that. And I know more is coming. And we've become desensitized because it's just endless barrages of earthquakes and natural disasters and banking systems and this and that. It's just so much, and it can feel like, oh my gosh, you're crumbling, the world's crumbling. What am I going to do? And, you know, mental health is still tanking, and, you know, like abusing substances is increasing. And so I just want to say, let's put a halt to that real quick, guys. If you're watching this right now, and I have the honor of connecting with you through the ethers right now, thank you. Thank you. Because I just want to give hope and bring a sense of peace. I pray for supernatural peace to be installed into you right now, because if you can ground into the earth and know that there is a higher power, and that's the way out of this world that seems to be crumbling all around us, and that you are safe. So that's one thing, is having a spiritual practice so that you can feel that safety from within out. And then you can be of service to those around you. And then number two, whatever area it is that you're in that you need help, whether it's health, finance, or parenting, whatever it is, go get it now, so that you are taking action. And when you're taking action, you feel like you're moving towards a better tomorrow, and that'll help your mental state improve as well. So it's multi-layered, but it's not that hard. Number one, spirit, and number two, take action.
I love it. I love it. Spirit and take action. You know, and clearly, this is not theory. You've lived this. You know, you're living it now. I mean, you got some great things coming up, Mary, and so I'm so fortunate. We are so fortunate to have had you today, and we really appreciate it. And the information on how to reach you is out there. I want to say thank you for all that you shared. I want to say thank you for all the directions that we could really go from here. So maybe get you back here with some time, and then we do a session around, you know, the baby boomers and the X generation, and some simple things that can be used right away. Because you're right, the world is different. You know, you used to be able to count on profit sharing. You used to be able to count on, you know, the retirement packages that are out there, but that is no longer the way life is. And more importantly too, is that, you know, our life is about living to the fullest as long as we can, right? And so you shared so many great things, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored I get to be with you and share from this, you know, the Holy Spirit's voice through me. And my prayer is that the person who needs to hear this hears it and is lit up with peace and empowerment. So thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. We will meet again, my friend.
Yes. Take care.
Ooh, hey, listen, I told you, you know, I know people that hear me for the first time say, man, this guy's full of crap. Look, go back to the beginning of this thing and listen to it. Take some notes on what she shared today. Understand, man, that you too can make a difference in your life. She talked about what higher power it is for you that you can connect to. Go do that right now. She said, the spirit and take action. Right, two simple things that we all can do right now make a difference in our lives, right? So we have to begin to understand that we do have the ability. It's possible. Yeah, I said it. It's possible that we can change our lives by the things that we're thinking about, by surrendering things that no longer serve us anymore, and finding a new way to live, right? So I encourage everybody. I wrote this down. The only limits to the possibilities in your life are the buts you use today. So what is it? What's your but? Geoff, this was great, but I don't understand my religion thing, or I understand financially, but you know, I still make whatever that is. What's the but? Replace that but with I can. Like we always say around here, baby, I will and I must. No more but in your life. Stop that stinking thinking. Subscribe to this channel, share this message, become part of the community. Look up my friend Mary. I'm telling you, you need to do that. And listen, thank you for spending time with us. We'll see you on the next episode. Stop that stinking thinking, baby. Change your thoughts, change your life. We'll see you later.